Hello everyone, and welcome to the third episode of the new ship build series here on my channel. Now, you've really enjoyed the last two episodes, so with this episode what we're going to be doing is we're going to be starting off by just showing you a small bit of details that I've added since the last video. Along with that, we're going to be figuring out the engine configuration for the ship, and finally we'll also do a full stabilization system to make sure the ship does not move at all while we're at sea in rough weather conditions. Now, if you're enjoying these videos, comment below anyone else you'd like to see in any of my future videos. While you're there, don't forget that like and subscribe button and click the little bell icon to be notified of my upcoming content as soon as it gets posted. So that all said, let's get straight into it and get started with this episode. So to start the video with the changes that we've made since the previous episode, you can see that we've made a few cosmetic changes. Now the first one being the stripe going across the hull of the ship. This is just to hide the windows on the side there. I think it looks quite nice. It does replica the original ship. We've also gone and put a little space here for the anchor system, so we can go and add that in there in one of the videos. Along with that, starting with the hull, you can see we have some thrusters here in the front. I haven't connected any of this up yet. Literally, I've just made the hole and put in the propellers in there. Nothing special in terms of that. Moving along, we obviously have those window pieces going along the side. Nothing else in terms of the actual hull itself. Now, getting up onto the ship, you will see all the cosmetic changes that we've made. If I can get up on the ladder here, hold on. So once we're up on the ladder, you can see we've just got some barrels everywhere, some tires, some fire extinguishers. We have some medical stuff. Along with that is we've gone and connected up our little life buoys on the side here, simply just by using a key switch. You can see it goes and throws it off to the side there. Along with that, just some more detailing going along there, some tires at the back, some blocks going along the side just to make it look a little better. Some more blocks going everywhere. We've also done the passageway inside here. Now I don't know if I'm going to keep this or not, but you can see we have the passageway with some pipes and things. Still incomplete, still needs to get finished. You can obviously see the inside of the ship itself now. The doors do open and close by themselves. Moving up to the next deck, a little bit more detailing here. Going along, we have some more paint blocks, some more things on the side here. Another door doesn't work, just there for aesthetics at the moment. We've added in some more aesthetics at the top there. I've gone and done the paint blocks here in the front, pretty much just simply by painting them through there. We have the tires. We've also gone and added on our front water cannon. Now, I haven't connected any of this up yet. It's very simply designed. It's just got pipes going into a large pump, then going out into another small pump, and then going out onto a little funnel. I've added a camera on the side there, and some dials and things just for aesthetics. Once again, we'll connect this up in a next video, and we'll see how that works. Some more just aesthetics here in the front side. Nothing special. Obviously, we have the key switches on all of these that release the connector, so that you can go and drag this and move this along, and you can reconnect it if you really want to, and just place it there. You can see it's gone and reconnected. Nothing else really going on, nothing on the top there. Everything is the same as it was before. If we go into the actual bridge, I haven't done any changes here. Everything is as it was in the previous video. So yeah, that's pretty much about it. I'm looking forward to doing this bridge because it's going to look absolutely amazing, I think. But let's get going with this video and let's start on the engines and the stabilization. So we're back here in the workbench. Now the first thing we need to do is we need to start working on the placement, and also we need to figure out where we are going to be putting the stabilization. Now I've done a tutorial on the stabilization already, so if you want to go check that out, go check it out in my channel. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're actually just going to enable the section plane, and I'm going to put it on a y-axis. As you can see here, that gives us a really nice view into the bottom of the hull, and that's the part that we're going to be working on. So I'm just going to increase it by a little bit to see how much space I really have to work in here. It's not that much worth of space, but it's probably enough to carry on with. So the first thing you can see that we have in here is just two batteries. Now these two batteries themselves, you could actually even to get some light in here, you could probably delete some blocks. It's up to you. But the first thing you can see, we have the batteries. These batteries I've just placed down at the moment. I don't know if I'm sure if I still want to keep them here, but we need to figure out where we're going to be putting our engines. Now, I'm not 100% sure once again on how many engines we will need for this because I haven't tested it out, to be honest. But I'm going to go with probably 4. But once again, that number could change as we move on with the ship itself and building it up. I'm probably also not going to be doing a interior. For the ship, I will probably do part interior, but not a full interior. Once again, that might change as we start building the ship up and see how it looks. We'll obviously just have to play it by ear and see if we want to change anything or if we don't want to change anything. So next thing, I've got one engine down. I'm going to get another one down. I'm just going to clear a little bit of space to get the next engine down, just like that, and hopefully I can close that. Oh, no, I can't. That's fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to raise this platform up here, so we can put our other engine on it, because I want them both to be on the same height. So let's go and grab our engine. Now, same with that, I also want the power to be coming out the back. So I've gone and angled it like so. And you can see we now have our two engines. As I said, I'm going to leave it probably like that for now, because we might change it depending on if we build an interior down here. But I think for now, that's okay. The next thing we're going to do is kind of just figure out how we are going to work with our stabilization system. Now, the problem is, first off, we don't have any space to do any stabilization kind of at the back here. We don't really have any space here, 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 or here. We can only kind of start doing it from where the batteries are. So what I might do to just help us a little bit is actually just move these batteries. So I'm just going to go and grab them with our section plane here. Grab them, cut them, and you can see I'm moving them with all their links on them, and I'm just going to put them at the back here. At the back, out of the way, we don't have to worry about them. I'm going to place them down just over here, and then I'm going to separately go and take them and just move them all the way to the left. Okay, so there's one, and let's go and grab the other one. And let's cut that, and let's move that all the way to the right, and just make sure it's the same entity, which is great. Okay, so we got those out of the way. We can now start doing our stabilization system, and it's pretty much in the center. As you can see here, this is where the stabilization system is going to start. So quite nice. I think what we can do before we do that is we can start actually just working out the different sections of our hull itself. So you can see there we've gone and separated the engine room. I'm probably going to do another separation just over here, and I'll probably fill it out a little bit later on, but you can kind of start to see the sections. Now, the sections are there purposely for when we have any water leaks. If there are any water leaks, we can obviously compartmentalize everything, so we don't have to really worry too much about that. I'm going to do a couple more of them just here in the front, so let's just go and put another one probably here. Okay, so you can see we've got another compartment and sectionalized there, and we can probably do another one just over there. Okay, that's fine. So you can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different compartments. I'm happy with that. I will probably do one more just over here, just to block off the front section, which is obviously prone to getting hit by any objects. You can see I've also got a whole bunch of weight blocks here already. The purpose of that is just to weighten down the front section. I also have the thrust holes or pipes or areas here. I haven't connected, as I said earlier, any of this up yet. We will have to connect that over to some power later on. Now, once we've got the 3 sections, this is where we can obviously start putting some stabilization systems in there. At the back, as I said, we didn't have the space to put a stabilization system. So what I'm probably going to do is start filling this up with some weights. So you can see here, I'm just going to go straight down here and just fill that whole section in with weights. You will have to adjust this accordingly. If it's too heavy or too light or anything else, you will have to adjust that accordingly, as I said, but just play around with it and you'll find out your nice sweet spot. Okay, so we've got that, we've got our engines in. I'm happy with the placement of that so far. We then are going to start working on, as I said, our rail system for our stabilization system here. So the first thing we need is we obviously need our track bases. I'm going to keep everything in yellow at the moment, just so we can obviously spot it if we want to make any changes. I'm going to go with, let's go with probably about that many rails in here. So 3 rails in each section. So you can see these different rails here. And this is simply going to be so that your weights can run on something. Now, this is where it comes a little tricky, because obviously you can see it's getting shorter and shorter and shorter here. So the weights don't have that much room to move around. Now, you can do different ways. If you want to keep the existing length, you can go higher. so you can move up and up and up. However, you're moving the center of gravity higher, so once again, it's up to you on how you want to play this. I think what I'm probably going to be doing is for this front section, I'll probably just go and actually just put the weights down, just like this, nothing special, just place them down in the center. I'm gonna go, let's go 5 blocks high and 3 blocks wide. I think that will be fine for the weight in there. As I said, you can play around with it and see if it's too light or too heavy. The next thing you want to do is we are going to go and add in our actual rail pieces themselves, or the sliders, so they can move along here. Now I'm going to be facing positive to the right, and then we'll adjust accordingly. So you can see we have those done. We can get these ones done too. Okay, so we got 3, perfect. The next thing we want to do is we obviously want to combine these. I'm going to just combine them using the weight block. So you can see I'm just going to drag this all the way across here, like so, and then what we're going to do is grab the merge tool and merge all of these together. Okay, now as I said earlier, you'll have to play around with how much weight you put in here, because depending on obviously how heavy your ship is and how many components you have and so on and so forth, you either need more weight or less weight. So I'm just going to go and just start filling this out a little bit more. Okay, and fill that out a little bit more there, and we'll do the same over here. We want to try and maximize as much space as we can on the lower side, so that the rails can move and we don't have to heighten the weight at the top there. Okay, so we got those in. My personal probably next suggestion would be that we go and spawn it in, see how it looks, start adding weight, and then move from there. So let's go spawn this in, see how it looks now with the weight in. So you can see we're way too light, probably a little too heavy in the front section, which means we need more weight at the back, so we can play around with that. But yeah, way too light, we need to add a bunch more weight. So I'm going to jump here, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to increase the size here to, let's go with 5, and then I'm going to increase it on the side by 1, so the width is going up by 1. So 5, and then width going across by 1. Okay, so we've increased all that weight. We don't have any weight in this section. What we probably could do is do the whole floor as weight to counteract that. So let's go and do that. I will have to go and paint this afterwards, so bear in mind that. Let's go underneath. Just going to disable this plane quickly, and you can see here we have our weights. I'm just going to go and add more in, and then, well, I will leave it like that for now, and while we're here, we might as well paint it at the same time. So let's get all that done. Okay, and you can see we have our weights. Okay, great. We can maybe add some more weights here in the back section, but yeah, let's add one more line of weights. And let's see how that will handle. Okay, so we got the weights in, we got our weights in here. Obviously, these ones are going to be moving left and right depending on the ship. That's great. These ones are all solid. And let's spawn that in again and see how much that weighs now. We also need to think of where we're going to be putting some fuel. I'm probably going to think of putting it here at the back because the back seems to be quite light. So that would be my first choice. Now, it looks like we might have a hole somewhere because we are capsized. Hold on. Could be because of the rails. Yeah, okay, so the rails, because they have no electric, they just keep instantly go and turn, so that's fine. Let's go and give them some electric here. So let's jump down. Let's go from our battery here at the back, and let's just go and connect up all our rails. Let's give them some electricity so that we don't capsize on spawning. That might be quite useful. Okay, so let's spawn that in now. That shouldn't capsize. We can kind of get an idea of the weight. But I think I'm going to be pretty happy with that weight. Yeah, I think that's pretty much good. We might add one more line. We definitely need more weight at the back here, but I'm going to fix that, hopefully at least, by adding in our fuel tanks here at the back. So let's go all the way down. We can enable our plane again on the y-axis, and we can start figuring out where we want to have the fuel. So we have quite a bit of space in the back here. Pretty much all these areas here are all free, so we could actually just say, well, this whole area is just going to be fluid. I don't know if that's going to be a good idea or not, depending on how much fuel we actually need for this, but let's just have a look. We could put the fuel anywhere, we could at the front, we could at the back, but I think the back is probably the more logical area to put it in, as I said, because we have so much free space. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start blocking off these sections here. So I think if we go and block that much off, and then bring that across like so, and we'll do the same. So we got what, 3 there, 3 there, okay. And then that's going to be our right fuel tank, and then that's going to be our left fuel tank. The smart thing actually would be to combine the fuel tanks together so that you don't get them being uneven. So let's just go and do that actually. Let's go and combine that. I'm just going to get rid of this weight here to free up a little bit more space. Okay, so you can see we have our one side of our fuel tank, other side of the fuel tank. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go and increase this, actually take that off, and let's go have another look and just make sure it's all connected up. So not really, so let's just go and delete that, and we'll make a roof on this because we don't want it to really go anything higher than what it is. Okay, so let's get that filled in, and we can get that all filled in, and then you can see we have our fuel tanks. Now I'll probably go and paint this off because I like to have my fuel tanks in one color, and before we should do anything else, I'm just going to go and grab a fluid spawner and just place the fluid spawner in here, just so it goes and fills up with fluid as soon as we spawn it in, and then we can see. So fluid spawner, that's great. Let's put it there. Okay, you can paint it if you want to paint it, it's fine. Okay, so we got that in. This should all now go and hopefully get filled with fluid. Let's just double check we don't have any holes anywhere. It looks fine. Let's go spawn it in. We might have to adjust the weight once again, remove weights. No, that looks almost perfect. Maybe a little too heavy. But yeah, that's looking really good actually. It seems like the weights are doing well. As I said, it might just be a little bit too much because the back end is getting weighed down too much. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll leave the fuel and we'll just remove the fuel tanks. I'm sorry, not the fuel tanks. We'll remove the weight blocks that we have over here. So we'll just remove some of these, and then we can revisit how much weight we have. Let's go and maybe get rid of one more. Okay, and then let's go and delete all of this. Okay, so we've deleted quite a bit of weight there. Let's go and spawn that in once again. And it's quite nice. We're compartmentalizing everything here. So if we did get a leak, it would be much easier to contain. Now you can see that it's still quite heavy. It's not bad. It's almost perfect. Almost perfect on the weight there. Might want to drop it by just a little bit, very little bit. So let's just go, and as I said, we can either go and shorten the size of the tanks, which actually I might go and do quickly, is go and take that off, and take that, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to close it off over here. Now it's up to you. You can get rid of the weights, you can get rid of pretty much anything you want. It's really up to you on what you get rid of here. Obviously, if you need more fuel, don't get rid of the fuel. If you don't need that much fuel, I think this is probably going to be more than sufficient. Then we get rid of the fuel. Otherwise, what you can do is start getting rid of weight, start putting fuel tanks on top of these rails if you want to, even put the batteries on the rails if you really want to. It's up to you. Just play around with it and find familiar whatever you want to do. Okay, so let's go spawn it in, test it out one more time, and see if we're happy with this weight. See, that looks, yeah, I'm much happier with that now. It's slightly higher, but that's fine. I'm happy with that because, as you can see then, it's going to just dig down a little bit as it moves along. Now we are leaning quite a bit because obviously we don't have any stabilization systems active just yet. So what we're going to do now is start working on that. Now the logic for the stabilization is pretty easy. It's pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory to do. It does require a little bit of testing and playing around with the numbers. All you have to do is, as I said, I have a video on that already. You need a tilt sensor, so let's go and grab a tilt sensor. You can place this tilt sensor wherever you want. I prefer to place it up quite high. The reason why I place it up quite high is so that it gets the most amount of tilt. If you place it lower, then it doesn't get that much tilt and it doesn't really work that well. As I said, it's up to you on how you want to do it. I like to place it at the top. Now, what you need to do is you will need to connect the tilt sensor to a PID. In theory, you could use some microprocessors if you really want to. We probably could. We'll create one now, and we'll connect that off. Use a PID to obviously measure how much we are tilting, and then try to correct it to our set value. The set value will be 0 because we want ideally 0 tilt, and then it's going to go and adjust the rails down here accordingly and move and shift the weight as we want. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is build the microprocessor. I'm going to build it up. I'm just going to call it stable. Okay. Stable ship. Perfect. Logic is going to be one input is going to be for our tilt. So let's do tilt in. Great. We're also going to have our number out. That is going to be for our rails. Rail out. Okay, now you could actually have them on 2 different tilt sensors if you want to. I'm just going to stick with 1 for now. Once we have that done, if you really want to, you could also add an on-off in here to just say, well, I want the system to either be on or off. It's really, once again, up to you. I'm going to add one in there just for right now. Okay, so we got that done. We can obviously go and do a little design if you really want to. It's up to you. I'm just going to go and do something like that, and you can see there, and we'll put some, let's put some weight here on some rails. Okay, that should be quite self-explanatory as what that is, and let's go and do that. Okay, hopefully that is clear enough. I don't know, maybe not. Okay, so we got that done, we got our name done. We're gonna go and start working on the logic. So we have on off, we have rail out, and we have tilt in. So we're gonna go and grab a PID. Now you can use the adjustable one or you can use the regular one. I'm gonna use the adjustable one. Why not? Because we can. We have a on off, easy on off. We have tilt in, so that's going to be our variable. Our set point is going to be 0, so we can leave it as nothing. We have a proportional gain, integral gain, and our iterative gain, and then we have our output. That simple, that easy. We need to go and obviously link these up to something. Now you could use constant numbers, you can use anything you want to. I'm going to go and use a property property number. How about that? Okay, so I'll go grab 3 of those. And that way we can adjust it by selecting it in our inventory. Or if you want to, you could also do it this way, where you could actually take those off, grab a number design here, or lengthen it out and add your logic. So we could say, well, number in is P, and this means we can control it on the fly. So while we're testing it in the actual creation itself, we can actually play around with it and see how it will change depending on what number we give it. This is probably the easiest if for testing this out and figuring out what number is going to be the best. As you can see now, we have our D. Let's go and link that up there. We have our I. Let's link that up to there, and let's go put the P there. Great. And you can see now we then have our values. That's simple. Let's go and save it, and let's say stable ship. Add that in, close it off. Go into our inventory, write stable, and there we have the stable ship. I'm just going to paint it orange because then I can see where my logic is for this creation, and I'm just going to probably place it just over here so I know where it is. Okay, next thing we can do is we can actually connect everything up and we can start getting some keypads and things. So I'm going to write key. Let's go and actually just search for it. Number inputs. Let's go with this one. Okay, and we can put that on the deck over here, and we can do some testing in a couple minutes for that. Okay, so we got 3 down there, and it's going to be P, I, D, and then we also need an on-off, so I'll just grab a toggle button, and let's get that connected up. Okay, so you can see there on-off. Let's grab the P and let's get that connected to the P, the I. Another way of probably doing this is also connecting a tilt sensor directly up to the rails. So as it tilts, it moves the rails, and then you could just slow down the rails if you want to. That's a very simple and crude way of doing it. It's not that accurate, but once again, you could play around with it and see if you can get that to work. That, as I said, that is one way of doing it. We have that all connected. We have tilt in, so we're going to go up to our tilt sensor, and then lastly, we're just going to make sure we have electric connected. Those are all connected, great. And let's just connect our buttons over here that we're going to be testing it out with. Perfect. Okay, so that's done. We can go and save our ship. I'm going to close it off, and I'm also just going to go and spawn it out in the ocean. So to do that, I'm just going to go and load up my mission editor. You can see I have the ship there. I'm just going to delete it, and I'm going to go and place the ship out. Let's put the ship there, why not? Okay, and let's close that off. Great. All we have to go and do is make sure it's included in the mission, and then we can spawn it in. Okay, so let's spawn that in. Ship should spawn in there. There we go. It's looking really good from this angle. We still have to obviously figure a way how to counter the wind when we do get wind on the ship, unfortunately, because we're using wing pieces. I'm kind of hoping that before we finish this build series that we might have some new blocks. This is just a little bit of a hope, but we'll have to wait and see with that one. Let's go and get on here. What we're going to do now is I'm just going to go and turn my system on. And then what we're going to do is you could probably even add some dials here to see how it's reacting. What we can do is we can just say, well, at the moment we're going to do it with a 1-to-1, see how it reacts. If you want to, you can use the camera mode, and you can go down in here and see if it is moving. Even if it is, I'm not too sure. Doesn't look like it's moving. I think it is, because you can see there it's not exactly lined up. You can play with it even more, strengthen it out, and keep on playing with it until you find your number that you're happy with. What we might need to go and do is I'm going to bring it back to base, and what we can do is we can actually go and just fix our rails and make them react a little bit quicker, because they do seem like they're going quite slow, so the system is having a little bit of a hard time. I'm also going to add some dials in here and just see how much we're actually tilting versus how much we are countering, if that makes sense. So we're back here at the workbench. As I said, I want to add some dials, so I'm just going to go and add in 2 number dials. There we go, digital displays. And let's put those down. I'm just going to turn off my axis quickly, and we're going to say that this one is tilt and this one is rail. So that's the output of the PID that's going to come into here. Let's give it some electricity, and let's say tilt is up here. There we go. This is the output of the PID. Perfect, we have that in there. We're going to speed up the rail system, so let's get them onto 1-to-1. Okay, so they're going to be super reactive, not going to be slow at all. That's going to be great if we tune the PID correctly. Okay, so we got that done. Let's go and save that off now. Close this out. And let's respawn the ship with the mission editor. So you can see there, I'm just going to replace it with a new one. Click on there and test mission. And you can see it's gone and spawned in. I'm going to swim over and I'll meet you back when we're there. Okay, so we're back at the ship now. You can see having the dials are really helpful. We have currently a tilt of 0.02, so it's tilting to the left here. And let's go and activate this and see how it works. I'm just going to put a P of 1. Everything else is going to be 0, and we're going to turn it on. And you can see it's going to exactly mimic it. So it's going to say, we'll go to the right by 1 until we get to 0. So, and there we are, we're on 0. Hopefully it doesn't overreact. You can see it kind of is, and it keeps on going and going and going. Okay, and then it's going over again. which means it's a little bit too slow. Now you can obviously play around with the I and D and see how that works for you. So to fix the I, what I've done is I've actually just gone and divided the I by 10. So whatever we enter in, so if we enter a 0.01, it's divided by 10. So that's going to be really helpful. Along with that is we have the P, so I'm going to start with 1.5. I think that's going to be fine. And let's go with a D of, why not? Let's go with 100. Okay, so let's add that on. Let's turn the system on. Let's see how that stabilizes. Okay, it seems to be rocking a little bit too much to the right. So let's go and increase the dampening. Okay, that seems... Oh, that almost seems pretty good. We're leaning a little bit to the right. But that's good. Let's go and increase the waves here. So 100% waves, as you guys can see, we're getting thrown around. Let's turn the wind off now. And let's see how quick it's going to react and get us back up and stable. Oh, that's pretty good. That is... Okay, I just fell in here, which is fantastic. But yeah, that's pretty good in terms of our stabilization. It is rocking a little bit. It needs a little bit more tweaking, but that's not bad at all. That is pretty darn stable. And it was very quick to adjust there also, which is quite nice. So I think we'll go and end today's episode over there. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it and found it something entertaining and informative as always. And we'll see you in the next one.